welcome back to TNN's coverage of the world's 9 best fantasy football players league. I'm your host, and this is what we have for you this week. Week 3 is now behind us, and there were a few surprising results, with several of the league bottom feeders getting a win to get rid of that 0 in the wins column. But one is still in search of that ever elusive win. TNN reached out to undefeated, never lost leadership to see how they're approaching the 3-game skid to start the year. Warning, this clip may contain ranting.
Hey guys, Miguel Romanello here, defensive coordinator for the historic franchise Undefeated Never Lost. I've been asked to comment on our second 0-3 start in as many seasons. And honestly, it's a pretty tough loss to take, especially as defensive coordinator who, as insider Danny Football pointed out last week, was already in the hot seat after week 2 and still went ahead and made the boneheaded decision to start Kevin Bond over Kenny Young. Even though I've always said that sleeper projections are crap. And I begged to keep my job. We ended up cutting Kevin Bond as a scapegoat. But yeah, at the end of the day, honestly, morale isn't too low for two main reasons. One, because, the draft positions are going to be decided by points for, and we've had a pretty respectable score this week, especially considering our bench. So, it's not that bad in that aspect. And the other reason is 0-3 was never outside of the realm of possibilities for us. We knew that we were in a really tough division to start the season. We knew that we could honestly start 0-5, considering we're in a division with 5 contending teams. So, it is what it is. We went up against the highest scoring team each week for the first 3 weeks, average score of 234, which would be good for 7th highest all time in a single week, which is insane. So, I'm not saying this is spite face, but I'm just saying, it is what it is, and our draft position doesn't seem that bad right now. And the pick that we're giving away doesn't seem that good of a pick. I believe last time that I started 0-3, I made a few bold predictions. Week 6 against Jacob is a lock for me, at least for my first win. Since all of his players are on bye. And then from week 8 through week 7 through week 11, I might go on a 4-0 stretch, maybe at least 3-1. That came into fruition, so I'm going to do the exact same this year, see what happens. I'm going to say that we might start 0-5. I'm not going to make any predictions about the next 2 weeks, but what I'm going to say is that from weeks 6 until week 11, which are the 6 divisional matchups against the interdivisional matchups, we're gonna go 5-1. We're gonna go 5-1. I predict that our loss is gonna be against Jacob's team, but it might not be. We might pull that one off and then lose against someone else. We might go 4-2, but my prediction is currently 5-1. And come week 12, when we're facing Timmy, we are going to still be in playoff contention. I'm not saying we're gonna make the playoffs, because we obviously have to play the same 3 teams that just kicked our asses again for the last 3 weeks, but playoff contention in week 12, 5-1 run in the interdivisional play, and 3 years from now we're going to be league champions. Maybe don't write that one down. All right, I didn't want to say this in the last video, but clearly some time has passed and I've changed my mind, so I want to rant a little bit. I don't get why our team is like the #1 public enemy of the league right now. I get that we made the video last year, which makes us a little bit cocky, and we did the tanking thing against Grayson, which I think was completely fair, since he was trying to tank against us, and since the league, and we were protesting the fact that the league essentially has no rules until someone does something like that, which is the reason why we lost the number 6 wide receiver in the year so far, and would have helped us beat Tom. That's beside the fact. Mike Visconti, dude. What was with your freaking monologue last week about us, man? Are you really gonna pick on Marquez Callaway? Do you want to pick an easier target for you to go against and seem like a big dog? It's a team who's rebuilding, who's in the deepest rebuild in the league, who you already beat by 120 points, right? The week before, so it's the only team you beat so far, by the way. And you have to pick on a guy who I never even said is going to be good. Marquez Callaway? Are you sad that I picked him up before you did? Are you sad that he scored against the Patriots last week on a blowout loss? I don't get it. And Romeo Okwara, let me just say another thing. Romeo Okwara, the two complaints that I think I got from Timmy and why apparently he won't trade with me anymore is that I lowball people and that I lead them on and I don't make trades at the end. Romeo Okwara, when I made the trade with Visconti, even though he said it was retroactively, when you look at it 2020, it's such a stupid trade, he said that he actually didn't mind the offer and he was going to think about it. And then I had to find out from Jacob that he wasn't going to go through with it. So one, I didn't lowball him because he was thinking about it, or at least I didn't know he was because he didn't tell me. And then he was the one who was stringing me along because I thought the trade was going to go through. And my trade with Jacob depended on that. And then I had to drop my trade with Jacob. That's fine. The funniest thing to me is that he would have started for you last week. He would have put up more points than maybe both your defensive linemen together. I don't remember. And also, the guy that you picked up with that 2-7 pick that you were so adamant about keeping, through 2 weeks in the NFL up to last week, had less, not the same, less NFL yards than I had. Great pickup, man. Like, you really gonna go up against us? Like, how about in 3 years, you see who has a better team out of me and you? Get the hell out of here. And I know my little rant was about Visconti because he was the straw that broke the camel's back. But this is to everybody, man. Stop making fun of us. Like, you're making me sad. You're making Danny sad. Don't think of me. Think about Danny. You're making Danny sad. Okay, I don't know if you're making Danny sad. You're making me sad, though. Justin Herbert, 30 points.
Also, I'm just now getting word from producers that an amateur reporter on the street has sent footage to TNN with a message from the Mental Brick Walls leadership. Let's roll that now.
As a team, I would like to introduce the fact that I need to begin tanking. I'm currently starting the entire Atlanta Falcons backfield. Please inquire about Stephon Diggs. Tooch, it's not tampering. I know what you're going to say. Mental Brick Walls, while they showed great fortitude last week in a victory, we are looking towards the future. Also, I regret my Trevor Lawrence draft pick. Thank you.
And now, here is Danny Football with his picks for Week 4. Hey, what's up, guys? World's 9 best fantasy football players expert, Danny Football here, back with another week of expert predictions. Last week was alright for me, going 3-3, bringing my total on the year to a very respectable 12-6. My guest, Visconti, did not have as great of luck last week, going 2-4. Unfortunately for him, not being able to beat the experts. But it's a new week, there's a new guest, and a new chance to beat the experts. So guest, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
What's up, world's 9 best fantasy football players? It is I, manager, owner, coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and czar of the astoundingly fantastical team Bonk Go to Mahorny Jail. I'm here this week to provide some expert picks and beat the expert, who is 0-2 against the expert himself right here. So, with that, why are we doing this? Ha! Look at that! Wait, I forgot my picks.
That's fine. All right, first up, we have Blinded by the Tight End taking on the Twisted Tees. Blinded by the Tight End, favored 73% chance to win here. Joe, who do you like?
You know, Danny Football, this is going to be a really interesting matchup.
and I'm just going to throw it out there before I say anything crazy. My mascot picks worked really well last season, so I'm going to keep going with this tried and true undefeated winning method because I am the true undefeated never lost in this league. So, with that being said, this matchup of Tom versus who is it?
Timmy versus Timmy, the Twisted Tees.
Tom versus Timmy, Twisted Tees. We've got Tom's Trash Panda bathing around in a roll of toilet paper versus Timmy Spartan beating his chest, looking all angry. And I believe the percentages are what? I was not listening.
73% for Blinded by the Tight End.
Oh, I agree with Sleeper on this one. Even though Sleeper predictions are trash, I'm going with Tom's Trash Panda. It will be snuggling up, distracting the Spartan, and coming up with the win in the end.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good pick there. This is one that's going to be a big matchup for both of these teams. Blinded by the tight end, narrowly avoiding starting the year 0-3, picking up that big win last week. On the other hand, we got the Twisted Tees, who are currently the only undefeated team left in the league. But something to look out for here is the Twisted Tees are going to be without Christian McCaffrey probably for a while.
That's big.
It's a big hit to the team. And the person who stands to benefit from that, they have Christian McCaffrey's backup, Chuba Hubbard, is blinded by the tight end.
That's great analysis.
Thank you. That's why I'm the expert.
We'll see about that.
I think it's something to consider here. I'm going to go out on a limb, make a bold prediction. There's going to be no undefeated teams in the league after this week. I'm going with blinded by the tight end.
That's a great pick.
Next up, we have Court is now in session, taking on undefeated never lost. Court favored in this one, 86% chance to win. Undefeated never lost is now the only team in the league with a 0 in the wins column. Very tough start to the year for them.
Brutal.
They even had a big performance from Myles Garrett last week, striking some fear in the blinded by the tight end. One thing to look out for, they have Tyson Williams, of the Ravens running back, who actually got outrushed by Latavius Murray last week.
How old is he?
He's an old man. Very old man.
He's on my bench. He's ancient. Can't confirm.
But the thing to look out for here is undefeated never lost. Their running backs are pretty bad already. If they don't have Tyson Williams to rely on, I don't really know where they're going to turn. On the other hand, we have the Courts. Got their first loss of the year last week. They were pulled down by the absolutely abysmal performance of the Bears offense, bringing down David Montgomery and Allen Robinson. Also missing TJ Watt, who is arguably the most valuable IDP player. But they have new linebacker Logan Wilson of the Bengals. Big showing from him so far. They're hoping he continues to produce. This one, really not too hard for me to pick. I think undefeated never lost might be able to make a claim against the court for intentional infliction of emotional distress after this one. They're going to get beat down real bad. I'm going with the court.
That's an excellent pick right there. I really like that.
Thank you.
I'm inclined to agree, and I'm also inclined to think that court will strike down any motion brought up by undefeated never lost. I mean, I won't say that Judge Daniel is crooked Judge Daniel.
I would never.
But when he's coming up against his own interests, I don't know. We haven't seen that yet. I can confirm he's a great guy, though. So, we've met. I'm very successful in the court of law. History will show that in the books. But back to the matchup. We've got Tooch versus Miguel, and Tooch's trash can, very menacing, versus Miguel's owl, a hoot of a really bad mascot. Very unfortunate. Can't even fly. Look at those tiny little wings. And did anyone else notice his tiny little robot buddies that he's got? I'm pretty sure Miguel paid money for those. You to have additional mascots in this league. What are you doing buying sleeper cookies? What is that? Maybe that's where the money went for the trophy cleaning fee.
That's a theory right there. That's a theory.
That's a deep state conspiracy. And I think you should contact Miguel for a comment. Maybe your host should.
I agree.
On behalf of TNN. But yeah, going back, your pick of the court, I totally agree with. That trash can is going to swallow up that owl, and its dead, rotting carcass will lay in the bottom of the pit of that trash can for all eternity. 0-4, Miguel, you suck.
Moving on, we have McKiss Maballs versus Ham and Throw. McKiss favored in this one, 68% chance to win. Joe, what are your thoughts here?
McKiss, my balls, will be McKiss and Visconti's balls this week. I think that seahorse looks pretty dry and sad and shriveled up out of a nice big blue ocean and sitting on that football field in the sleeper wrap. And you know who else is there to wrap it up, mummify it, and get it all prepared for its journey to the afterlife? The toilet paper panda that Visconti has as his mascot. And that is how this matchup's going to end. Visconti for the win. I hate picking Ham and Throw, though. I really do.
Yeah, I think that's a really solid pick. McKiss, they picked up a really nice win last week. Both Zeke and Saquon actually performed for them.
Who would have thought?
Clearly, they're fans of the show and heard me talking trash. Needed to prove me wrong.
You specifically.
Me specifically. They're fans of the show.
Zeke and Saquon going to perform at the level that McKiss was hoping for this year. We haven't seen that production out of them so far.
So I think if they can keep rolling, it's going to be hard for Ham and Throw to keep up with that. As I had accurately predicted last week, Ham and Throw crashed, plummeted back down to earth. Their offense was not sustainable. I really don't have high hopes for them this week. I'm going to go with McKiss in this one.
Is that our first opposing pick?
It might be.
Wow. Wow. I guess I will be beating the expert this week.
Next up, we have Team M. Vanek versus Bonk Go to Mahorny Jail. Bonk favored this one, 62% chance to win. Team M. Vanek, they were able to pull out a win last week, avoiding going 0-3 and keeping their team alive despite their calls to
Trust the process.
However, this is still not a team that I'm high on at all. Their running backs are subpar, to put it mildly. They have confirmed PED user Will Fuller on their team. Not great for locker room morale. Confirmed cheater. And really, I'm not very high on this team. I don't have a lot of faith in them. On the other hand, Bonk, they've been looking pretty solid so far. They've got Cooper Kupp, elite wide receiver so far this year. Patrick Mahomes is always going to be tough to beat. They've got some momentum going. They've been really promising this year, and I think they're a team that could actually make some noise in the playoffs if they keep it going. That shocker, they might surprise some people.
Flattering words from the expert.
Very, very flattering. Very flattering. With all that being said, I'm going Team M. Vanek.
Ah! That was so rude. Oh my god. Well then, if that's how we're going to play this, Danny Football,
yeah,
the niceties are over. To all my friends, not that one, out in the league, you've heard of Pizza Rat, but have you heard of Pizza Puss in Boots? My absolute animal of a pussycat that represents Bonk Go to Mahorny Jail will be devouring Mike Vanek's slice of pie. It's just sitting there with its backwards hat and its little soda, having a sip, doesn't even know what's coming for it. There is a big cat on the loose in this league. It is rushing up in the standings, and it will come out victorious this year. Get ready to print that name on the trophy.
All right, bold predictions. Next up, we have the Mental Brick Walls taking on To Infinity and Beyond. To Infinity and Beyond, big favorites here. 92% chance to win. Joe, what are your thoughts?
You know, we've got the Mental Brick Walls Owl versus To Infinity and Beyond Spartan. I mean, I've already trashed this owl once. So, And we've got the weakest brick wall I've ever seen. I mean,
That's
you
true.
could flick this thing,
Very,
and
very,
it would fall over.
Very porous wall.
Brett, your team is garbage this year. What's going on? We got to do something about this. I'm going with the Spartan to absolutely tunnel and pound through that brick wall like I just watched a Tom Walsh hype video.
Yeah, I think this is one where it's pretty easy to make a pick here. For To Infinity and Beyond, they had Kamara come back. Big performance from him last week. If there was any doubt about him not being great this year, I think he got rid of that doubt last week. Also had a nice performance from Jamar Chase, showing he's got some promise. If there's one thing to look out for with To Infinity and Beyond, though, it's that they're going to be without Blake Martinez. Big hits to their defense. They've got some guys they can plug in, but when you've got a consistent IDP scorer like that, it's always hard to replace that production.
It's a good base to build on.
On the other side, we have the mental brick walls. This is a team that has had a pretty rough start to the year. Their fans are begging, pleading with the team, telling them to embrace the tank. And in the words of at least one team's leadership,
trust the process.
The pick of Trevor Lawrence has really not panned out. He obviously could be very good in the future, is not going to be the answer in the present. They're starting the entire Atlanta Falcons backfield at running back. I really just do not have a lot of hope for this team. I'm going to go with To Infinity and Beyond in this one.
Great pick. Trevor Lawrence is really driving that taxi squad, or at least he should be.
He should be. Yeah, could. Brett,
Full steam ahead.
if you need a quarterback, I don't have any for you.
I have two.
Because I don't have a team. I'm Danny Football. Finally, we have our marquee matchup of the week. The Tex Arcana Bandits taking on Team Big Chungus 22. Bandits favored in this one. Slight favorites, 54% chance to win. This is a big matchup right here. We got the rivalry, the battle out in Brooklyn.
Ooh.
Heated rivalry. You know this is one both teams want to win. Get those bragging rights. Plus, we're making this one the marquee matchup because some teams have accused me of not saying anything about their team. Cough, cough. Will Trump. So, skipping over Team Big Chungus 22 entirely, let's go to the Bandits. Now, Joe, I know you're a fan of the show.
Oh, I'm a huge fan.
You're a big fan of the show.
Massive
So you're probably already thinking, I know what you're going to say. But let's hold that thought for a second. I've got some extensive notes here on the Bandits. The Bandits, they cooled off a lot last week. Like, a lot. They were undefeated up until that point. Barely. I mean, they weren't even able to score 130 points last week. Lowest score in the league.
You can only burn so bright for
It was pretty bad.
so long.
It was pretty bad. We've got A.J. Brown, hurt, hamstring injury. I mean, he was a big trade for them. If he's not around, really going to hurt their team.
Mm-hmm.
The defense really didn't show up for them last week. This team really, they're very riddled with issues right now. It's very hard to pick this team, but fans of the show are gonna know.
They know.
Fans know. Fans of the show are gonna know. I am high on the Bandits.
Give me that sweet Texarkana Bandito.
One bad week of Bandits play is not enough to get me off of the Bandits train. I'm going to keep riding. No doubt in my mind. Team Big Chungus 22, who even are they? They're going down to the Bandits. Bandits all the way this week.
Wow. That's a controversial pick right there. I mean, fans of the show know that you never pick the Bandits.
That's true.
You know, that is a controversial pick, Danny Football. Some people will say that Big Chungus 22 is a worthless team.
Some might.
Some might say that. Other people, on the other hand, would say that Big Chungus 22's troll is big, ugly, and it looks hungry. I know you're a big fan of the Bandits name football.
That's true. That's true.
Fans of the show know that, and I personally am a big, big fan. Maybe not number one after this week's picks, but I'm still a fan. I have faith. Now, that Rockstar Kitty really put on a performance last weekend with that Eastbound and Down meme video that had everybody rolling. Maybe not rolling through the championship, though, because I've got Wilbur's Troll dominating that Rockstar Kitty. It's going to take that guitar and slam it into the ground. I've got Wilbur and Big Chungus 22 in this matchup.
Wow. All right. Big pick. Well, Joe, thank you so much for being on the show. My first in-person, in-studio guest.
No masks.
No masks.
We're not vaccinated. This is just how it's going.
No. We definitely are. We definitely are. Please, that was a joke.
Was it?
The show does have comedic elements. That was a joke. We were both vaccinated. Anyway, Joe, thanks for being on the show. Wishing you all the best of luck with your picks.
And
of
you
course,
too,
not as good as me. You can't beat the experts.
We'll see.
I'm going to get my revenge this year. So,
yeah.
Thanks for being on.
Let's check in next week and see if you did.
We will. And thank you, Danny Football and guest Joe, for those great picks. That is all we have for you this time. Be sure to come back next week to see how things panned out. I'm your host, and this has been TNN. Oh shoot! I forgot my line. I wrote a really good one too.
What was your line?
I said I'm not a fair weather fan. The Bandits may have taken a little detour, but the destination remains the same. They're
Nice.
going straight to the championship.
Oh, what is going on?
Oh shit! I think we took too long.
No!
Hold on. I think it's still going. No! No, what happened?
Did it not save the entire roll?
No, it's still going.
Oh,
It's still
we're
going.
good,
It's
we're
still
good.
going.
Oh my god.
Oh,
There's your
God.
there's your
That's
stinger.